When God brought Israel out of Egyptian slavery and led them to the Promised Land, He warned them to drive out the Canaanites and destroy their false gods. But Israel didn't listen and suffered the consequences. They mingled with the Canaanites and worshipped Baal and Ashtaroth until God exiled them to Assyria and Babylon. Centuries later, Paul warned the Corinthians not to make the same mistake. 2 Corinthians 6, verse 14. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? What accord has Christ with Belial? Or what portion does a believer share with an unbeliever? What agreement has the temple of God with idols? For we are the temple of the living God. As God said, I will make my dwelling among them, and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Therefore go out from their midst, and be separate from them, says the Lord, and touch no unclean thing. Then I will welcome you, and I will be a father to you, and you shall be sons and daughters to me, says the Lord Almighty. Paul quoted from several Old Testament passages as the basis for his admonition. In Exodus 29, verse 45, God said, I will dwell among the people of Israel and will be their God. In Leviticus 26, verse 12, God also said, And I will walk among you and will be your God, and you shall be my people. Isaiah 52, verse 10 says, The Lord has bared his holy arm before the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. Depart, depart, go out from there. Touch no unclean thing. Go out from the midst of her. Purify yourselves, you who bear the vessels of the Lord. Paul taught Gentile Christians that they were now part of God's people and therefore subject to the same rules of conduct that God gave to Israel. They could no longer participate in the idolatrous and polytheistic worship of other gods like their pagan neighbors. They could still have social and business relationships with them, but they could no longer participate in their religious rituals and festivals. Sadly, many professing Christians today ignore this teaching. Their churches are full of idols, and their worship is based on pagan rituals and festivals. Paul urged the Corinthians not to touch what is unclean if they wanted God to accept them as his people. This isn't talking about spiritual defilement in the heart, because Paul said not to touch it. And the only place in the Bible where God defines what is unclean is in the law of Moses. Deuteronomy 14, verse 6. Every animal that parts the hoof and has the hoof cloven in two and chews the cud among the animals you may eat. Yet of those that chew the cud or have the hoof cloven, you shall not eat these: the camel, the hare, and the rock badger, because they chew the cud but do not part the hoof, are unclean for you. And the pig, because it parts the hoof but does not chew the cud, is unclean for you. Their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch. Deuteronomy 23, verse 12. You shall have a place outside the camp, and you shall go out to it. And you shall have a trowel with your tools, and when you sit down outside, you shall dig a hole with it, and turn back and cover up your excrement, because the Lord your God walks in the midst of your camp, to deliver you and to give up your enemies before you. Therefore your camp must be holy, so that he may not see anything indecent among you and turn away from you. God gave the ancient Israelites sensible laws related to diet and sanitation that were centuries ahead of the Gentile nations, and Israel enjoyed clear health benefits as a result. God's laws promote life, but sin leads to suffering and death. Sadly, many nominal Christians today have offended God through their stubborn disobedience. They think they have fellowship with God, but He has turned His back on them. God is not a father to them, and they are not His children. Paul's admonition is further evidence that the Torah is God's basic definition of right and wrong for all humanity. Jesus expected His disciples to teach and keep the Mosaic law, and the apostles affirmed the authority of the Torah throughout the New Testament. So the law of Moses is still relevant as a guide for proper Christian behavior.